sounds of my really, really annoying voice, where we can see the current time, the heart rate, and irregardless what anyone says, Colleen actually has a heart. Now, what's really neat is notice her RER is down to 0.71. Like, she's pretty much running on pure fat because, once again, she's a great aerobic athlete. This isn't very challenging. In 5 seconds, 4, 3, we're going up to 2.5 miles an hour and 12% grade. Whenever you're ready, bring it on up.
2.5 and 12?
2.5 miles an hour and 12.0 on the incline. I'm just going to imagine your RER is still about nothing. Your RPE is still just 1 or 2? Okay. So, yeah, and now we're just going to awkwardly record the rest. Don't worry, it's getting mostly just the camera. Right? Yeah, it's recording, but it's just not going to show us the screen. But, like anything else, she's doing fine. Left foot, right foot. Go figure, her heart rate's gone up a little bit because the work output's gone up a little bit. Now, remember, until we see that RER over 1, we see the heart rate and figure it's 220 minus your age plus or minus 10% is the easiest way that I'd go about it, explaining to you guys. Do you need me to do anything with this?
It's kind of annoying when it falls.
Abby, do you mind being the camera person? Thank you.
Yeah.
A little more comfortable? Because no matter what, this test is going to suck, so we want to make it as comfortable as it can be. And that's where you know it's getting into the hard point. When you forget about how annoying this is and how annoying the face gear is, that's when you're in the real test. Right now, we're just kind of messing around, kind of talking about her feelings, making sure that she's going to be okay going through it. So, when we get to 5 minutes, 6 minutes, so on, ask her that RP, and we'll write down that heart rate. So we've got all that. But the nice thing is, notice we have a backup where all those heart rates right there. So we didn't have to be perfect, but we definitely want to make sure we're trying to stay on the ball somewhat. And the yellow line right here is actually her ventilation. So we can see her taking a breath in, breath out, breath in, breath out. So the problem is our axes are so small you can't really see her taking the breath so clearly. RPE for me? No, it's not the time to have the sniffles.
I know, right?
You blow your nose and it's just stuck in there with you.
Yeah, right.
See, the nice thing is right now, Colleen is technically social distancing herself because the air is going all the way through this box and actually kind of hitting her own shins. But it's not actually going through us. Which, let the record reflect, everyone in here is actually otherwise wearing a mask. Not that you guys don't have to go through. Absolutely.
Yeah.
True. But you guys, yeah, and you're definitely wearing it better than the average football player here at Eastern Kentucky University. No, that's not fair. That's not fair. Most of them do. It's just, you know, it's closer to a good Shaq's free throw average than like a batting average. But it's definitely no Jordan average. Okay, we're going to go on up now to 3.4 miles an hour and 14% grade. What would you say that heart rate or that RPE is?
At 14?
Yep, at 14. So now you see when she talks, that's where you can really see that change.
I would say it's like great.
Okay. Doing good. You do have plenty of belt, so you can go backwards a little bit on it if you want to. So notice now, she goes to the next stage, boom, heart rate jumps up, as expected. You know, RER still way less than 1, so it's annoying, but she's bored. You know, it's not like, it's not painful or anything we're worried about. Her heart rate is consistent as all get out. And, yeah, now we're up to, okay, 7 minutes, RPE again.
7? You want it again now?
Yes, RPE.
I have 4.
Okay. So I thought you said 7. I was like...
It's like, oh gosh, this is gonna...
No, I thought you said at 7 minutes.
No, sorry. At 9 minutes, we will go up to 4.2 miles an hour and a 16% grade.
Right.
That's going to be that weird walk-jog type situation.
Yeah. Where you're like jogging uphill.
Whatever's more comfortable, that's what I should do. If it's comfortable to mall walk it. If it's more comfortable to run it, you run it. You guys are the legitimate athletes in this world. I am not. So do what you want. Now, notice we've got ventilatory threshold, and we're also going to be trying to get a basic idea of where she's crossing over. So you can see how our ventilation, liters per minute, is slowly stair-stepping up. At some point, it's going to take a right-hand turn and really shoot. Heart rate is, you know, you can see stage 1, stage 2, stage 3. And over here, that RER is now getting close. So at some point, we're going to get all the way up to 1. But since it's averaging her breaths over this time, RPE,
4.
it's never going to be perfect. It's always going to, if we were doing a breath-by-breath analysis, it's going to be a little while. Since it's an average of 30 seconds, we caught her right when she finished a breath last time. She'll have one less breath, and then going forward. And then, of course, if you make them laugh, if you talk with them or otherwise, see, right there, jacks up your ventilation numbers. So, you know, running while screaming, I mean, yeah, it's showing up in your ventilation stuff. Yeah, it's looking more like a sonogram than it is volume of air. Okay, 15 more seconds until we're going to be going up to the 4.2 and a 16% grade.
So that should max out at like 200.
Good. We're going to get to that once we get her up to the next one. So we're going to talk about it. Good point. 4.2, 16% RPE for me. It's okay. You're doing great, Colin. You're doing great. Cool. So, great question. When it comes to the hitting her max heart rate, we go 220 minus your age, and then I say plus or minus 10% because there is that natural variance. So you'll have some 20-year-olds that I can actually hit a max heart rate of like 220, and that actually might be like some of, maybe not you guys because you're too well trained and your hearts are going to be naturally a bit bigger for your size, so you're not going to be able to go as fast just because it can only contract and relax so quickly. Like a resting heart rate for a mouse is like 200 odd beats per minute because their heart's so small, and like a blue whale it's like 5. Yeah. Because it pumps more blood than like I have mass each minute. Or each beat, I apologize. So we figure once her heart rate gets over $180, that's when we're gonna start paying attention because that's where we're probably getting close, or it's getting real. Yeah, it's an awkward walk jog. I told you. It sucks. RPE. Good.
Because that's about what we do for like workouts. It's usually like 180, I think.
Yep. Now at the same time, her heart rate might be a little artificially high because of, once again, other factors. And then that's the problem with using the heart rate, because if I had to do my workouts at your heart rate, that might actually be pretty damn close to my actual max heart rate. Yeah. So I'll be a puddle on the floor and you guys will just be chilling. So that's an important thing of keeping in mind what we're both physically, because notice she's still not, okay, now she's on average getting into where she's using some anaerobic glycolysis, she's using a lot of aerobic glycolysis, and probably still a little bit of beta oxidation left over in there somewhere. But yeah, I would have converted over probably a lot earlier. Good. RPE. Awesome. So that's why now, you know, things are getting real. 45 more seconds at this pace, and then we go 5 miles an hour, 18% grade. Yeah, that's the brutal thing about this. It's you literally run until you hit the wall. You're doing great. You really are. You might not feel great, but your numbers are looking great. You know, we're not going to do a true full max, but I do want you to give it some solid effort. See, that's the thing that's brutal about it. For you guys, when you do a 5K, you just got to finish. You can see that finish line. You can suck it up. This is the equivalent of just, you know, you run until you hit the freaking wall. And don't get me wrong, a lot of people will, how to say, cowered out, will back off. Okay, let's go ahead, bring it up 5 miles an hour, 18% grade, because their brain will break before their actual body will break. Good. RPE? 7. You want a little bit more cord? Yeah, so now she's getting a little more comfortable on there. She doesn't have to be all the way to the front. She's got plenty of belt left, but you'd actually want to have like an oversized treadmill, so that way she'd have plenty of room to run. And then if you really want to get decadent, you get one of those that actually has the catch So it's
Oh,
actually
yeah.
kind of the harness you wear,
Yeah.
not like you guys with your 0G, but literally like if she falls, it'll never allow her to
Yeah.
like hit and bounce. Which that would have been great for the Wingate lab, but well, you know.
Yeah.
You're doing great, Colleen. How you feeling, girl?
Yeah.
Okay, I appreciate that honesty. Let's try to get through.
I can do like 5 more seconds.
Okay, finish this. Okay. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and go and hit stop on the treadmill or back it way down. It's your choice. Or just pull the safety. Great job. So we got a max heart rate of 191. Notice now we're plummeting over here as you'd expect, but that's okay. And then we saw a max of that number right there, which I think is artificially low, and that's okay. And keep breathing. And we're going to go ahead and hit end test. We got a maximal heart rate of 192. You okay, Colleen?
Yeah, I've been so fast this week. I knew that was not going to go as well as I wanted it to.
That's okay, that's okay. So we're going to go ahead. The nice thing is we're still getting her kind of recovery. If you can, plug it in. I want you to just walk at about 1.7 miles an hour, and you can go pretty much 0 to no grade, okay? Just key is I just want you to move a little bit to kind of do some active recovery. Yeah. Somebody went anaerobic.
Yeah.
Because you did, the peak RER you had was 1.28.
So that's like what happens during like a hard workout when you start to like develop lactate and stuff. That's like what level?
Bingo. Well, that's just the RER. That's respiratory exchange
Yeah.
ratio.
Yeah.
We're not looking at your blood lactate levels because I'm sure if we looked at them, they wouldn't be through the roof, but they'd be pretty high.
Yeah.
And that's why we're just trying to get her to do some active recovery to bring that back down. And we can kind of look at our data here while it's live and come to some other conclusions. We have a max of, 45.3, which to me tells me this is not a good test for her. Not like, as in like, I think she probably could have done better if we had a more of a true running than a true incline test, because that's a different gear than what you guys do. So the Bruce is fine because everybody can walk, and most
Yeah.
people don't make it to stage 5. They just don't. And so if we wanted to make this a better test, then this test should be more running on a slight incline, so it's like real running, but then we just keep ramping speed
Yeah.
until eventually you can't hang on, which is really more of your sport.
Yeah.
Because, yeah, it's hilly around here, but it ain't that hilly. So now, okay, see the ventilation? Where you've got here? So we got total ventilation of the liters and everything. You see how we've got that? It arcs, 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 and then boom, and she comes down.
Yeah.
So actually for her, because you guys are really good and well trained, notice there's no real clear like point where we see it take the right hand turn. You just gotta make things hard on me, don't you guys? You can see our heart rate's doing that, where she hits that stair step and then she kind of stays and she goes a little higher for the last stage.
Yeah.
But there's no clear ventilatory threshold, which means you probably didn't hit that RER until you, or hit that anaerobic threshold until you're pretty far along in your actual, because
I'm also super tired today. I had my first day of lifeguard training yesterday, and we had a workout, so I knew I was not going to make it far on this.
that's okay. But, that's another big key. As you guys, given what you do competitively, I would expect easily both of you guys to be well into the 50s. And so, like anything else, now we're talking about glycogen levels.
Yeah.
Now we're talking about just general overall recovery, that you guys have all your systems. Mm-hmm.
I had 2 donuts and a coffee. I eat like a grandpa, I swear.
You don't eat like a grandpa. Those grandpas that eat like that don't live that long. No, that's
my
not.
grandpa used to eat like that.
But you still gave us solid data. You went through it nice and strong. Now, the other thing that's interesting for what you guys are doing, okay, we talk about obviously all of your different energy systems, and specifically the major energy currency of your cells is ATP. Now, when you do really, really hard training, you actually decrease your intracellular levels of ATP, and you have to build more of it. Now, that's from de novo synthesis and what's known as the Purian-Savage pathway. Don't worry, you're never going to have to know it for an exam. But for you guys, it's an issue because you can maybe have, you guys can think of your competitive careers where you did a great job the night before of relaxing, getting in a nice big meal of carbohydrates, had a good breakfast, and then you went and you ran like straight up garbage.
Yeah.
And as a female, it wasn't because of your cycle, it wasn't because of anything like that. You're like, why do I feel like I don't have second gear? Well, it's because not only do you deplete your glycogen, which you have to replenish, but then you actually deplete your ATP. If you're doing a lot of hard anaerobic repeats.
Yeah, which we didn't do.
And that's fine. Like, you want to make yourself be underperforming at certain points because that's how you're going to hit that super compensation be better later. But like anything else, and that's what we're going to talk about in actually next chapter, when it comes to sports training, there's functional overreaching and non-functional overreaching. And functional overreaching where you beat yourself down but you come back and you kick ass.
Yeah.
Non-functional, you beat yourself down and then you're garbage, exactly, and you barely get back to where you started. And that's a fine line, and that's something that you don't have to play with until you get to real levels of, it's not fair. You get to be at pretty high percentages of your overall ability,
Yeah.
which is where you guys are at. And most people will never understand this, and hence, it's not really worth talking about that much in undergrad ex-phys. But the one thing that's really neat is notice just the straight up sheer consistency of her heart rate the entire time. Like on occasion, you'll see people that like will drop a beat, that's normal, and or they'll have an early beat that comes up, but this thing just looks like an old war drum.
Yeah.
So, okay, you've had a little time to recover. We're going to go ahead and end the test. So I'm going to go ahead and end it all out. We're definitely going to save the data. And then, what's that? Go ahead and turn her off. And we're going to go ahead and print out a copy of the bestest job that Colleen Stewart did.
It is not the bestest job.
You did a great job. I will not let you talk bad on yourself otherwise. You can unhook that mask, the clamps. Just hit the clamps on the sides. You can help her if you want, Abby.
Please.
Yeah, I'm really gross. Please don't touch my face. It's really nasty.
Yeah, it's pretty miserable to occupy inside of it.